Hey there guys, Farmman Official here and welcome to this Age of Empires 4 video, and today we're going to recap things that were revealed and that I learned from the show match between the Chinese and French civilization, amazingly casted by Zach Robinson, also known as Zero Empires, and Eric Roble. We're going to start off with the Chinese civilization, and the first thing we encountered were some of the economic bonuses. We were reminded that the Chinese have a bonus of builders working twice as fast, and they have access to the Imperial Official. This is a unique unit to the Chinese civilization, and is produced from the town center. We are limited to having 4 Imperial officials in a game, and it can have a supervising role, causing an increase in production of 200%. When it's not supervising, however, the Imperial official will move from building to collect tax. The next thing we saw is that the Chinese civilization went for the Barbican of the Sun landmark to progress to the feudal age in this show match. Although it is classified as a defensive landmark, placing it strategically forward in certain areas of the map can grant a lot of map control. It is a landmark which has a large area of vision which it can defend with a cannon. It has 5,000 hit points, 50 armor versus ranged attack, and it deals out 25 hand cannon ranged damage with an extra 25 bonus attack on ships. We also of course saw some discussion about the dynasty system for the Chinese civilization. Building both landmarks from a given age unlocks a dynasty which in turn gives access to certain units, buildings, and bonuses. We saw that the second dynasty, called the Song Dynasty, enables villager production to be faster and gives the ability to build a village, which gives you 40 population space and also is a garrisonable building. Next we saw the Palace Guard, which is the Chinese civilization's spin on the Man-at-Arms unit. It has 155 HP, 5 armor versus melee, 4 armor versus ranged, and it dishes out 14 melee attack. It has less armor than a normal Man-at-Arms, but they make up for it in movement speed. Going up to the Castle Age with the Astronomical Clock Tower enables the creation of the Clock Tower variants of the core Siege Workshop units, as well as the Nest of Bees. The units from this landmark have an extra 50% health. Looking at the Clock Tower Nest of Bees, it is an innovative field weapon capable of firing a barrage of rockets to damage defensive positions and clumped enemy troops. It has a good area of effect damage against most targets. However, it does have a slow movement speed and it's weak if it's surrounded. It has 360 hit points, 8 armor versus ranged units, and attacks with 8 rocket arrow attack, 8 burst attack, and 8 tiles of range. It almost acts as a replacement of the mangonel for the Chinese civilization. From the Astronomical Clock Tower, you can produce the Clock Tower Springald, costing 200 wood, 200 gold, and taking 30 seconds to build, as well as taking 3 population space. It is effective at taking out high value targets at long range. It fires after quickly setting up, and it specializes in having long range and having bonus damage versus siege engines. However, it only causes small damage to buildings. The next unit it can produce is the Clock Tower Nest of Bees, which we've talked about already a little bit, and so we'll move on to talking about the Clock Tower Counterweight Trebuchet. It is a powerful siege engine effective at destroying buildings and walls over a great distance. It has bonus damage against buildings, but it must be set up to fire, and it can be inaccurate against units. It costs 500 wood, 250 gold, and takes 40 seconds to build. It also takes 3 population space. And lastly, you can build the Clock Tower Bombard, costing 400 wood, 600 gold, and taking 45 seconds to make, and taking 3 population space. It is an intimidating siege gun, excellent against buildings or any stubborn targets. It causes high damage, but it must be set up to fire, and it can only be built in the Imperial Age. We also saw the Fire Lancer in action, which is an unarmored cavalry wielding explosive tipped lances for an impressive charge attack. Their charge deals area damage. It is an effective raiding unit against buildings and siege engines. However, it is weak in melee combat. Now, we didn't actually get to see any specific stats for this in the show match, but having a look at it, it looks like a fantastic unit. It is a unit which is unlocked from one of the dynasties, in particular the Castle Age dynasty. Having had a good look at the Chinese civilization, now let's take a look at the French. The main theme of the French civilization is cavalry, and they are one of 2 civilizations that can have the knight in feudal age. Because of this, it makes sense to start off there. The French have a special access to the Royal Knight, which can do bonus damage after a charge. The Royal Knight's charge attack isn't an attack bonus attached to the charge itself. Rather, after the charge, the Royal Knight has an attack bonus on their primary attack for 3 seconds. It's also worth noting that the French have the Royal Bloodlines technology, which replaces the biology technology which is usually found in the university for other civilizations. The biology technology would usually give an extra 20% health to the cavalry. For the French, however, the royal bloodlines gives 35% as a health bonus. There is also a technology for the French civilization called cantled saddles, which increases the bonus attack after the charge of the royal knight. It's also really important to mention the chivalry technology for the French. For 50 wood, 125 gold, and taking 1 minute to research, the royal knights can regenerate 1 health every 1 second when they are out of combat. So we can see from this unit, it really lends itself well to a hit and run strategy, where you can do your damage with the charge attack, and then leave and then regenerate your health. We also saw quite a few economic bonuses for the French. For starters, they can train villagers in 18 seconds, instead of the usual 20. Their economy technologies are cheaper, as well as the cost of their drop-off buildings. We also saw that buildings around the keep have a cheaper production cost, so it really pays off to have your production buildings around your keep. We also noticed the School of Cavalry, which is a landmark that enables stables to produce 20% faster, and itself acts as a stable. It's also really important to note that the melee blacksmith technologies are researched automatically and for free when you advance through the ages. We also saw the Arbaletière, which is a unique crossbowman unit to the French civilization, and has the unique Pavis ability, giving 5 ranged armor which remains active for 30 seconds or until the unit moves away. One of the special things about the Pavis is that it's actually almost instant to deploy, so you can be quite aggressive moving forward with your Arbaletière and utilizing the Pavis ability to put pressure on your opponent. The Guild Hall, which is an Age 3 landmark, was built in this show match, and we saw how it enables you to select which resource you want it to generate. It will passively build up your chosen resource in the building. The longer you leave it, the faster it gathers, and so the longer you wait, the bigger your reward. We saw yet another unique unit for the French civilization, and this time it's the Galleass. It is a ship with 1200 health, 3 armor versus ranged units, and it attacks with 130 bombard damage with 8 tiles of range. So the last thing I wanted to mention about the French that we saw in this show match is the College of Artillery Age 4 military landmark, from which the French can create the Royal Cannon, which is the most powerful siege cannon and is excellent against buildings as it gets bonus damage against them. The College of Artillery landmark also lets you build the Royal Rebaldaquin, which is a 5-barreled gunpowder weapon, effective against mass units, but it deals little damage to buildings. It can hit multiple targets with a single volley, but has a short range and low ranged armor. Lastly, from this landmark you can build the Royal Culverin, a long-ranged cannon made for destroying siege. It deals bonus damage to siege weapons and attacks without having to set up. However, it does cause low damage to buildings. These 3 units all cost 400 wood, 600 gold, and take 45 seconds to build, each of which taking 3 population space. So guys, that's it. We covered a lot of ground about the Chinese and the French civilization from this show match. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and of course we've got lots of other Age of Empires 4 content on the channel. If you did like this video, giving it a thumbs up really helps the channel, and consider subscribing to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this. If you'd like to see other Age of Empires 4 civilization guide content, do click the left end card screen now, or if you'd like to check out the build order playlist I have on YouTube, click the right end card screen now. Either way guys, hope you have a great day and see you next time.